Hello, welcome to the new moon in Capricorn report. The new moon is going to be in Capricorn on the 2nd of January 2022. Now I love that because it's the 2, the 1, 2, 0, 2, 2. Okay, so before we go into the report, I do want to say one little thing. A little bit of an apology and a love to send to you. I did promise a live during December that I was going to do with prizes and everything, but I've had so much trouble with live since that last one where I did the December reading and it just didn't work and I had to do a non-live and post it for you guys. So do bear with me. I'm hoping to do it by the end of January. I'm hoping to get that all sorted out by then and be able to bring that through to you, and there will be prizes, so do check it out when it comes up. It will be streamed either here on YouTube Live or on Facebook Live, and I'm going to try and do the lives together, and I've never done this before, so please bear with me because for me it'll be something new. Now that brings us right into the energy of this new moon in Capricorn. Capricorn is all about ambition. It's all about making plans. It's all about career and potential and how well we can do, right? Capricorn's got that in its energy field. Capricorn's an interesting sign because it gives us that beautiful energy of change, but through hard work and effort. Now, something really interesting about Capricorn, many people don't know this, right? Capricorn's a little bit like its kind of neighbouring cardinal sign Libra. Libra's all about balance and mediation, and Capricorn is all about fairness and justice. Capricorn can't stand seeing fairness and in unfairness and in lack of justice. Watch out for that because that could play out a little bit, or you might see a little bit of that coming up either within yourself, which is where most of this will play out at the moment, or somewhere around the collective, or even globally. You might see some of that coming up. Now, the energy. Right, you are going to hear me rustling, by the way, because I've got my papers, all right? So I do excuse me, all right? Because you know I make loads of notes so that I can give you all that's coming up. So the energy is going to be really shifting. So we're going into a new energy. Now, regardless of that, okay, there may be some instability apparent because we're not quite out of the 2020-2021 brigade, what was happening, okay? Now, if you're really interested in that, actually, do check out my report that is actually coming out for 2022. I have brought through a message for 2022 with the angels, which I'm going to do a video on, and that will be within the next, I think it will come out next week. So it's going to be the first week of January that will be brought out for you. Okay, so do check that out and I will put a link in the notes down below. Once I've done it, I'll put the link in. So you've got it, so you can access it if you want to, because there's a lot of really important, I'd say quite significant information in that the angels have brought through for us. And it's just for us from them. So that's quite an interesting one, right? So yeah, so do check that out. So what else can I say? I mean, look, the ambition side of Capricorn is the thing that you need to be taking notice of. What, because it's a determined sign. What can you stick to? You know, what professional values? Because it comes into professional with Capricorn. Maybe a little bit financial, but not as much as the whole professional determined. Obviously, if you're professional and you're determined, you're going to make that financial gain, right? So it's to look into that aspect, right? So it's about really building a solid foundation, finding that really solid foundation. Make your plans, stick to them, find out what your values are and really bring them into being using this Capricornian energy. There's something I do want to say, and it's really, really pertinent, and I've never really thought about it. Well, I suppose I have because I do astrology, but many people don't think about it and wouldn't even know, especially if they don't follow astrology. We go into the new year with this, we're going into the new year and it's a new beginning. Well, actually, the reason that new beginning gets so highlighted is because the Capricorn energy is within it, and it is all about refocusing. It asks us to refocus. So we take that beginning of the new year with that Capricornian energy, really giving us the power to make more of our lives, okay? Now, there's another binding twist when it comes to Capricorn. Capricorn's an interesting sign, like I say, because it has some interesting twists. And I'm about to tell you about that little twist. I don't know if it gets said much. It's kind of a quiet, secret Capricornian thing. But remember that as you're building and being goal-orientated, and like I say, it's a great sign for the new year. The Capricorn has a secret. What is Capricorn's secret? We see it as this mountain goat, scaling the hills, getting up on high, achieving its dreams, not through force, but through just long-term progressive effort. This is being highlighted here. Remember this, not through force, it's through long-term effort and gentle steps upwards, right? That's what Capricorn symbolizes. It symbolizes the mountain goat taking the hill. Yet there is a secret. I'm going to tell you the secret. Capricorn is actually symbolized by the sea goat. Do you know this? Does anyone know this? Many people are not aware of this sea goat element of the Capricorn. It has this kind of mystical representation. Capricorns get a really hard rap, and I'm going to really, really make this aware here, that I'm aware of this, okay? Capricorns get a hard rap. It's often said because it's governed by Saturn Father Time, and it's a very strong element, and Saturn Father Time is quite a disciplinarian, and it wants everything to be fast, and right and correct, and Yet, because of this, Capricorn gets this, I suppose, it's given this story around it, that it is this very strong, quiet base. Base isn't really a good word for it, more sort of like a more authoritarian sign. But like I said, it has this secret because it's the sea goat. It's quite mystical. Now, let's look at that. So you've got the goat with the sea tail, the tail of fish. Now, you're getting that. What is the most psychically spiritual sign you can think of? It's the Piscean sign, right? Capricorn carries some of that energy within it. Aha, I love that, because Capricorns are not all about the authoritarian energy. They have this mystical energy within them, which means that through their focus, their direction, their determination, and that drive, they can actually produce something that's of more value because of that spiritual element. So tap into that spiritual element. They have this mystical energies which can lead to that semblance of balance, right? So take that and use that, because you have that at your disposal during this new moon, okay? Sorry, it's got a bit dark out there. My lighting's not the greatest today, so I do kind of, well, I hope you can still see me. So, yeah. So, of course, this is a new moon, so it's new starts, new intention, new beginnings. That's always going to be highlighted in a new moon. But in the new year, with a new moon, the highlight's just that little bit more ramped up, and it gives us that little bit more to play with and to work with, right? So also remember that deep Saturnian energy that I just mentioned, okay? Really remember it. It's Father Time, kind of that manager, so to speak. So be aware of that, okay? Now, to my mind, I see this as that we're stepping into the energy of honesty. What doesn't work for you anymore? What can you step into that's new? We are going into a new year. This isn't just about Capricorn. This is about taking your life, looking at a deep focus around it, and making plans that can help you to step into a new direction. Now, Jupiter has moved into Pisces, and there's going to be kind of fast movement in that movement into Pisces. It's going to do that quite quickly. And we've also got so it would be the 1st of January, we've got Uranus, which is, we've got 1st of January, the Sun is trined in Uranus, because this taps into a more spiritual element, okay? And the feel of this is going to be profound. Now, remember what I said about the Capricornian energy being mystical and having that secret source. Take that secret source, because it's part of what's moving us forward now, and it's what's going to be that change element for us. I've done the chart for London, and we're all about kind of manifesting here. What can we manifest that's of good? What can we manifest that's of light? What can we manifest that's going to bring us into a space where it's going to be easy? And I want to really highlight this. That manifestation of light and in a higher element is really going to help, because what it's going to do is going to give you the potential to ride the year in a much better fashion. The year's going to be tricky if we all of us, in fact, even me, right? That we don't take that potential opportunity that's been available to us so that we can manifest through a deeper plan. Capricorn's all about planning and understanding where it's going. It won't just jump in foolhardily. It will just plan it so that it knows what it's doing, right? So that's for you to tap into. There is an extremely positive energy of upgrades, an awakening, and aligned energy coming up. You know, I see it as if we've got Pluto kind of highlighting what isn't going to work for us and sort of making it kind of clear, showing us. Now, obviously, we're moving from dark into light, so that's going to come up through the month to open us up to awareness. Okay, so it's to recognize that that's happening. It's to remember that we've had this we've kind of got a war. War's not really the greatest word, but a tug of, I suppose a tug of war, right? You know, like you've got the some people standing on one side and some people standing on another side, and we're all pulling the rope. We've kind of got that going on, and it kind of is this energy of contraction and expansion, sort of fighting a war with each other, a battle with each other. And the new moon is going to highlight this struggle energy. It's going to, it's going from dark into light, and that light's going to kind of make it apparent of how this tug of war is going. Okay. Let's look at it like this. There's a new energy dawning, right? And every year brings in new energy, a new focus, a new definition. And as I said before, do check out my 2022 report, because it's going to be more clearer about what that focus is, because it's going to be about the year and what's happening and what has been happening. And it kind of highlights and explains that to you and what's going on, because the angels have brought that through to me. So that's going to be a little bit more refined in its message, because it's completely of the time, it's of the now, right? Now, remember that the whole Venus Capricorn energy, and that's still happening until the end of January. That whole retrograde, right? So remember that's still going on. So that kind of catalyzes that whole area around money still, and how we're going to deal with it. How are we economically going to deal with it? I think globally that's going to start to show itself up, right? Can we step into new systems? I still think there's going to be a tug of war going on with everything. So that tug of war, like the two people on either side pulling the rope, is going to keep happening for a while, because I think the energy is really being truncated by one need to stay in the old and one need to move into the new. It's kind of the battle of change. Remember, I think on a personal level, let's bring it back down to personal level. Remember that when change gets levelled at us, if it's something we don't want, we can all be really quite resistant, right? And this is what I'm talking about, this resistance energy. It's not necessarily about the Capricorn new moon this is about a resistance energy that's been playing out over the last few years, and we're moving into a new year, and it will come with us a little bit. So it's about being aware of that, right? So what else? Remember the relationship thing as well, because of the Venus energy and how relationships are highlighted and they're still aspected. And you may still get a visit from someone from your past. You may still find your relationships are a little bit difficult, maybe a little bit cold, and just struggling around that. Know that it's only for a time and it's fine. And just stay strong in the love for who you're with, and trust that it's all going to be okay with regard to that, because it doesn't need to mean anything. Although you might find old issues come back up, like things that you haven't dealt with in your relationship, problems that seem to always get stuck under the carpet, brushed under the carpet kind of thing. Those things might just come up for you. So do take notice of that, because it will really help you as you're going forward for the next time. And it's a really good idea right now to heal those issues if you can, yeah? By the end of January, you've got until the March 1st energy anyway, because it will shadow, there'll still be a little bit of that available. But I would really advise, if it comes up, if something bubbles up for you, if triggers start to happen in relationship with anybody, to deal with them in the way that works right for you, okay? This is not to say make sure that you're a doormat or anything. This is more to say be really boundaried in it and be strong in how you respond to it, okay? Because that's going to be quite important for you right now, so that once that's done, it's sorted, and you may get a few lessons around it again, but it should be less apparent and something you can deal with in an easier way. Okay, right, so what else have we got? It's to remember that Capricorn is the sign of governance, because it is. Okay, I mean, there's no going two ways about it. It might have its mystical element, but it really is the sign of governance. And I'd ask you to hold on to your hats and hold on to your energy field and to stay in your center, because there's going to be a lot of movement around this, and it's just going to be the beginning. All right, it's just going to be the beginning of that movement. So be very, very aware of how you are dealing with the energy of what's being presented to you. Okay, because more is going to come up. We're not really there. And like I say, watch the 2022 report if you can, because I talk more about this in that report. There's a lot more energy around what's going on and going to happen as we move forward as a collective, as a group, as a humanity, as a consciousness, right? To look into anything you feel betrayed by, right? Is anything coming up for you where you felt betrayed, right? Remember what I said about Capricorn being about justice and fairness, right? Capricorn is a truth seeker. It's a truth teller in many respects. Not always in a great way. The star sign can be bombastic because it has that Saturnian energy, right? Yet it has this very kind of determined strength around it. So if you do feel that something's coming up that feels like there's a betrayal or doesn't feel right, then kind of give yourself pause to make a change around that, yeah? Because it will help you as you move in through the 2022 year. Now, as I said, Pluto's in Capricorn, and it's going to kind of play the oracle, like the mentor, yeah? It's going to have that kind of mentorship energy around it. So it's asking you to go inwards. What I would say, and I've been saying this a lot over the last few months, you're probably thinking, here she goes again, but you've really got to go inside to understand what it all means outside. We have been trained and conditioned into coming through our understandings, through looking at outside stuff and training ourselves on that and then expressing that outwards. That's not going to work anymore. It's time to start moving inwards, reflecting inwards, and then bringing that message out. And if you want to then reflect on what's going on outside the world, that's fine. Yet it needs you to take deep focus on your inner message, yeah, so that you can be stronger. You will find that this is a struggle if you keep looking outside for a kind of validation, let's put it like that. Now, if you do take the inside message, you're going to find you're feeling stronger and deeper and more of truth, right? Because truth's the element here that we need to step into. Remember, there's that Sagittarian energy of truth still riding in a little bit, right? So it's to be aware of that, yeah? Because I do think that it will, you need to guide you. You need to be the guidance system for yourself, and that's the bottom line. There's no going two ways about it. The guidance has to be you. There's no one else. There's only you. There's only you. Just look at it like that. This isn't about not caring or loving other people, right? Because that's always got to be there as well. But it's about recognizing that if you put yourself first, then you can put everybody else within that strategy where you work to create love within, right? Yeah, back to my self-love. But hey, that's where it needs to be funneled. That's where it needs to be understood. Okay. Now, I'm also drawn to a deep understanding of a higher breakthrough, expecting ourselves beyond, right, that which is mundane. So we need to move out of that mundanity, and I put it in inverted commas, because the mundane is not going to serve us right now. We need to move beyond that. Now, as I say this, I'm getting a really strong awareness to just highlight one thing, though. Be really aware that mundane isn't bad. So when I say mundane, I don't mean not to accept the basic values of life, or to let me put it this way. Over Christmas there was a little mouse. I found a little mouse, okay, and we had to release this little mouse. And mice are all about accepting and valuing what we have at its lowest level, at the basis level, right? So, and to seeing it maybe as not mundane, yeah? Does that make sense? Because this is what I'm getting. It's to understand that what we may see as mundane isn't mundane as well, and to realise that we can move more into this deep understanding that life is more than we've been giving it credit for, right? So you're stepping into that higher conscious energy. There is a galactic element here, the understanding that we're more than just this planet, and we are tapping into the higher gateways, the cosmic intelligence. And I think that there's more in the angel report about this, so I hope there is. I might put a bit more in if not, and ask the angels to bring some through for that. But it's about 2022, and I'd like that to match with what's coming through for that message for you. Now, 2022 is going to have a lot of activity in it, and there'll be surprises. Things that you may not have thought would happen might happen, or things you might think might happen, but it's going to be really like, oh, how's that happened? Or there's going to be kind of a, let's say, like a new way of looking into things. It's going to start to become a little bit highlighted, a little bit more aspected. Now, remember, as with everything I say, I'm talking on the astrological element. If we want to hold on and be resistant, then those things may not become apparent and we may not see them. It's about how much are we open to see the truth. This is what this is about. If we're not open to see the truth, then there's a possibility we will not access this potentiality that is being presented to us through 2022, okay? Now, Chiron also highlights our health and how we're dealing with our health. And obviously, I think people are probably in a space right now going, health! Because it's becoming a little bit of an overzealous thing at the moment, isn't it? It's health, 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 nothing else, health, health, health. And it's only a certain health, and it's not all health. So it's about us really being aware of what we're doing, and are we making some errors? Do we need to upgrade what we're doing? Do we need to think a little bit more on this? And it's about being in refined spiritual energy as opposed to very contracted energy that isn't of light. So that's the message that's coming through there, okay? We are being asked for 2022 to dream big. So be ambitious here. Be strong. Allow yourself to put those dreams out and make them real. Yeah? Because why not? Anyway, why not? We've got the Jupiter energy to give us that. And, you know, that is going to, yeah, we've got the Jupiter energy to give us that. So dream big. Dream big and make things happen for yourself and trust in yourself. This is the bit that's the most important. We need to move from the old energy of lack of trust in ourselves, complete trust in everything outside of ourselves, to a new energy that's complete trust in ourselves with the support of the collective and human consciousness through the human family. That is the upgrade and the new conscious energy that is aligned with our change and our deep, deep, deep conscious energy to lift ourselves into a new way of living and being. We do have the 2022 message as well, so like I say, please do take a look at that, and like I say, I will leave the link below with regard to that. So I really think you'll get a lot of benefit out of that, because they give so much really cool advice in that. So you know, there is a kind of creative, regenerative energy being aspected here, and I think we're kind of stepping into a new nature, a new way of being as a people. We're being asked. Now, I liken this a little bit to the goddess Kali's energy, right? The goddess Kali in the Hindu tradition she's the destroyer. So she creates chaos. However, through her chaos, she levels us up, right? She levels us up to being able to make a change of what didn't work before. So there may be some chaos, discord, craziness, overwhelming, just unbelievable nuts stuff happening. Imagine it as if the earth's just cracking in front of you and people are running everywhere. There might be a little bit of that feeling, yet it's not a bad thing, in the sense that what it's bringing through is Kali wants everyone to be of love. And yes, she may do it in what we see as a demanding way, yet the energy I get here is actually more about the fact she wants to break down what's not working. Think of that energy, it's coming through. She wants us to be together, connected, collective. Everyone is with everyone. We include all. We do not disregard some because their values are different to ours. There's that. Okay. So I want to step into some of the themes, okay? Like I said, we're at a tipping point of this contraction, expansion. It's going to be uncomfortable, as I said, with Kali's energy. Kind of, you might feel like the rug's being pulled out from under your feet. May not be necessarily in your life, maybe a collective, humankind thing, but just step into understanding that, right? So the themes that we might get are, and I believe this is something that is through that energy that I've just mentioned with the Kali goddess energy, it's about collaborating. It's about realigning. It's about refocusing. It's about maybe, awakening our conscious energy to a deeper aspect of ourselves. Truth energy, like was discussed in the last report for the full moon. Truth. Truth is also in Sagittarius new moon as well. Being revolutionary in that we change things for the good of everybody as opposed to the good of some and not all, right? There's more. There's so many more themes here. There's love, joy, peace, stepping into a higher conscious energy. There's discarding fear. There's not being controlled. There's not being manipulated, coercion, letting go. They're not themes that we need or require now. That is the chaos and destruction. We destroy those things that don't work for us, and we bring in the energy that epitomizes peace, which is the ultimate goal here. It's the ultimate goal for the human family to connect and be a collective, whole, organic unit that works as a whole with its individual aspect highlighted, right? So I'd recommend, focusing on yourself a little bit here as well. So bringing in some love and care and stepping into self-love. Watch some of my self-love videos maybe. Look at what needs to go. These self-love diet tips are really good for that, actually. I will leave some links in for those as well. They are really good because they're about letting go of things that might be actually affecting your energy field. So they are probably a great one. I will try and do another video actually for that. It won't be in the first week of January, but maybe the second week of January, I'll do another self-love diet tip video that can bring us some more things that can help us to move through this energy that we're being presented with, right? It's the idea here is for us to drop anything that makes us feel anxious. So we move into those higher states that I was just mentioning: peace, love, transformation, equality, the diversity, recognizing that we all deserve to live in this world in peace, with the recognition that it's okay if we're different. And we don't have to all be the same to be in joy consciousness. And actually, do you know the deepest love and the deepest aspect of a cohesion of togetherness, and most of you will know this because you've all had relationships, is when you accept that someone may be a little bit different to yourself. That's deep love. That's really stepping into that conscious field and recognizing it for what it is. I'm being asked in a way, and I've been asked in a way to reflect on one thing. We need to be of the energy of positive rather than negative, right? So it's to step into the level of consciousness that we want to acclimatize with, that we want to move forward with, that we want to make our normal, and how we're going to move forward with that, right? So I'm looking here to sort of, most of us have been in quite a lot of dissonance over the last few years, and let's change that energy of dissonance into a more positive vibe that is of the energy of coherence, okay? So that we are creating a positive element. Imagine, I'd like you to think about how energy works and reacts. When we send love to something, say it's a plant, for example, it really is healthy and it lives through that loving aspect. But if we ignore the plant, treat it badly, it doesn't have the energy around it and its cellular structure starts to break down. And what I'm being asked here to say to you guys is to do the same thing with your body. Treat your body in the way it deserves so that it can reflect outwards that love. And if you're really interested, you might want to. I'm going to be bringing out my meditation, yoga, healing course in January. It's probably going to be the end of January. By the bang end of January, right? So going into February. It's going to be an 8-week course, and you can really get some grounding in that because I'm going to be moving through the chakras. So we're going to go through the 7 chakras, and then there's a final lesson which comes up, and it is going to be help you to refine everything and bring it all together. And you're going to have access to that. If you can't get on live, because they're going to be live, they're going to be live Zooms, but if you can't get onto that, you could literally pay for it, and you could check it out when I post it in an area just for people who paid for it, and you can watch it at your own leisure. So you'll be able to do that. I mean, it's not going to be available all year, but it's going to be there for you to use, and that will really help you to really bring the energy down into you. Now, I want to go back to the Capricorn energy, not just about the collective and global energy, and step into just remembering we are in a new year and it is a new moon, so it is a new start, which I've already said anyway. Be strong, get stuff done that you need to do. Just take the moments, take the time, be in the intensity of Capricorn, allow your plans to be real, to happen, right? In fact, if you really want, this is a little bit of a secret sauce message, right? A little bit of a thing that most people wouldn't know. Take January and do everything if you want, right? This is a trick. It's a tip, okay? Say yes to everything in January, everything that you could think of. The things that don't work will just fall away, and the things that are meant to be will stay in your energy field, and you'll know where you're meant to go next. It's a secret, but you can do it, and you know it now, right? So I'm going to do it as well, so we can talk about that maybe in the comments at some point. So what else? Remember the seriousness of Capricorn. So because you've got to be careful of the negative and positives of the signs when we're in the moons. So be careful of being overly serious. Dip into laughter, dip into the mystical element of Capricorn, and allow that to shine through, okay? Remember the Venus retrograde that I mentioned in the last video, and you may be feeling a little bit restricted. So do watch out for your boundaries there. You know, I like to think of dear old Capricorn, as the strategist, as the constantly planning, constantly having something on the boil, plan, thoughts, what am I doing now, da-da-da-da-da. I like to think of Capricorn as that. Now, if you have a great deal of cardinal in your sign, you may find that you're going to really feel this. You're going to really feel the energy of this. I'm a gentle thing, because it could feel like a somber start if we allow it to. It's not necessary, because like I say, there is the mystical element. Watch for somber, watch for scarcity, watch for the energy of thinking you can't have, because that's the thing with Capricorn. It's very emotionally determined, and it's very ambitious, yet it can get stuck on those rungs of the ladder, because it's very small steps that it's taking. So be aware of that as well. Okay, we're coming to the end, but there's a few little things I just want to mention, and this is about the USA. In the States, Mars is in Sagittarius on the ascendant, right? And this is going to bring in a kind of fighting energy, let's put it like that, confusion energy, right? Very combative, okay? Think financial, think messy, possibly messy. There's lots of opposing going on Mars, Uranus. There's a bit of trouble highlighted. I kind of see a wild ride in that economical sense. It is a point of change, of realignment, of new direction, right? It's not necessarily positive or negative, it just is. And that is something I want to highlight with this Capricorn new moon. It's not necessarily positive or negative, it just is. Take that theme, use that theme to direct you in the best way possible. So use the positive aspects of Capricorn to draw you into making new changes, new direction, tapping into the themes of collaboration, of equality, of diversity, of justice and fairness, so that you can move your year on in a most beautiful and profound and lovely way. As I say, thank you so much for watching. As usual, it's been a pleasure. Do subscribe if you want more content like this, and I also do the self-love stuff, and there's sometimes readings and things. Also, do take the time, if you've got it, to watch the message for the 2022 with the angels, which I'm going to bring out. So do watch that, and have a beautiful new year, everyone. Namaste, and I am sending you all so much love as ever, and do take care of yourselves, and I'm hoping that 2022 proves to be just that little bit more of a raising energy. But as I say, do watch the report for 2022 as I highlight what's going on, and you will be able to understand our next phases through that. Sending you all so much love. Mwah.